I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look that one up, I think.
On a computer?
Yeah, I still look things up in the books.
What?
Did you say you had checked this book out? It'll have it if you look through it. I'm just not sure right offhand where.
It has the same title or cover.
It's the same book, bud.
It's probably the same book, and this is the best book I have found on owls as a whole. Talking North American owls. Here we go. I think we have all 15 here, except for the elf owl. Yeah, I think there's probably 15, at least 15, and then you have different subspecies.
Okay. What is the average amount of children in an house?
In a clutch,
Yeah.
some owls will have only one or two. Some will have huge bunches. Depends a lot on the food source, how much food there is. Barn owls, which are the white owls with the heart-shaped faces, they'll have up to 14, 15 eggs in a clutch if they have enough prey. The same with snowy owls. But what happens is they lay an egg every 2 days, and so the eggs hatch at 2-day intervals. So the oldest owl could be as much as a month older than the new owl. And so when it comes feeding time, the real tiny ones usually don't survive.
What is the migrational patterns of owls?
Owls aren't really migratory in the sense that migration implies that they move back and forth geographically as part of their normal life cycle. Ducks will be here part of the year, and then they go somewhere else part of the year, and then they come back here to breed. The same with the geese. Owls don't necessarily do that. They move according to where their food is. So they're pretty much opportunistic. They're not true migratory birds. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
How do you train an owl?
I think they train us, even other wild animals. So they're not like a dog or a cat that wants to please us necessarily. So it's basically building a bond of trust with them so that they feel good about what we're doing. They trust us not to hurt them, and we trust them not to hurt us. But we always remember and are really respectful of the fact that they are wild animals. So it's not so much as us training them as it is us learning to work with them and them learning to work with us. Which is probably a lot more than you wanted to know about that one.
What are some interesting facts about owls?
Well, you know that they can turn their head not all the way around. Do you know how far around they can go?
I'm pretty sure all the way so their head 180 degree lines.
Well, 180 degrees would be half of a circle. They can go a little further. They can go 270 degrees. So they can go 2/3 of the way around, or almost 3/4 of the way around. If you were going to be an owl, you could put your nose over your shoulder blade without moving your shoulders. You know why they can do that? Yeah, that's about as far as I can go too, is just whoop, whoop. They have 7 extra bones in their neck. They have 7 extra vertebrae. Do you know why?
Why?
Do you have any idea why?
So
Take a
they
guess.
can find their prey easier when they're flying above.
That's part of it. But what's probably the most important feature people think of when they think of owls?
That they're nocturnal.
Which means their vision is really important. Their eyes are really important. So their eyes are so important that they're set in the skull in a bony case, so that you can move your eyes from side to side like that. Owls can't do that. If they want to look to the left or the right, they have to move their head. So it's a protective thing as well. There's lots of neat things about owls. I can just keep talking about owls all day. So
What state are owls most found? found those coming?
They're found pretty much throughout the world, not just throughout the states, but throughout the world. Every state has its own grouping of owls, depending on what kind of territory there is, what kind of food base there is. I lived in suburban Florida, which is about as busy as you can get, and I had a yard full of screech owls. So, if there's food there, owls are there.
What owls are you able to bond trust with? Or are there any owls you can't bond trust with?
Just about any owl will work with you. Some are a little bit less trusting than others. The owls that commonly are found around homesteads and farmsteads and in yards, they have a little bit more of a comfort level than owls that never see people. Some owls, like some people, are more highly strung than others, and that can be within a species as well as separate.
Do you see a difference between the gender in the
Not
trust?
really. No, not really.
What bird do you think is most like an owl?
Is most
Like an owl.
an owl. You mean what bird other than an owl resembles an owl to me the most? I would have to say probably the northern harrier. It used to be called the marsh hawk. Their eyes are set very similarly to an owl's. They're more frontal. You know how hawks and eagles have eyes on the side of their head pretty much? Harriers have a little more flat face, and they have the facial discs, the same as owls. So, you know, if you look at an owl's face, you'll see they have specialized feathers around their eyes. Those act like little radar cones, so that when they hear sound waves, those waves bounce off of those dishes and funnel the noise into their ears. And harriers are the same way. Excuse me a minute.